My wife looked me in the eyes and said, "I wonder why I ever married you." So after years of trying to make it work, I finally served her divorce papers. Hey Reddit. A few weeks ago, my wife and I were having one of those frustrating late-night arguments. Nothing major happened to start it, just a regular difference of opinion about weekend plans, but somehow it spiraled into something bigger. We were both exhausted, and emotions were running high. Then, out of nowhere, she just looked at me, dead serious, and said, "I wonder why I ever married you." It felt like a punch to the gut. I just stood there, trying to process what she'd said, and I couldn't even form a response. I wanted to believe it was just the heat of the moment, something she didn't really mean. But once words like that are out, it's tough to put them back. She just walked away and left me standing there, stunned. That night, I slept on the couch, feeling like a stranger in my own marriage. Over the next few days, I kept trying to talk to her, hoping for some sort of apology or at least an acknowledgement of what she'd said. Instead, she just brushed it off, claiming she didn't even remember saying it. She laughed, saying something like, "I was probably just tired." But it wasn't funny to me. I couldn't just brush it off as a passing comment. Her words lingered in my mind, casting a shadow over everything. I kept replaying that moment over and over, trying to figure out where things went wrong and why she felt that way. A week later, I decided I needed clarity, so I asked her directly. I told her how much those words hurt me and asked if she really felt that way about our marriage. She sighed, and without looking up from her phone, said, "I don't know. Maybe we're just not compatible anymore." That was when I realized I might be the only one still trying to make things work. It hurt, but after that conversation, I made up my mind. I wasn't going to keep investing in a marriage where I felt unwanted. I thought about the years we'd spent together, the good times and the struggles, and realized I was holding on to something she had already let go of. So, after a few sleepless nights and some serious introspection, I decided to meet with a lawyer. A week later, I had the divorce papers ready. I never thought I'd be the one to end things, but I also couldn't keep living like this. When I handed her the papers, she didn't react the way I expected. She just looked at them for a moment, sighed, and said, "I guess this was inevitable." It was like the person I'd fallen in love with was already gone, replaced by someone who had no interest in us anymore. Update. It's been a few weeks since I handed her the papers, and everything feels surreal. She moved out last weekend, taking most of her stuff, and now the house feels empty, like a shell of the life we once shared. It's been rough, to say the least. Some days, I feel like I made the right decision. Other days, I wonder if I gave up too easily. One thing I didn't expect was how much our mutual friends would get involved. Word got around fast, and suddenly, I was flooded with messages, some supportive and others accusatory. A few friends even told me I should have tried harder to make things work, that I should have been more understanding. But I wasn't the one who casually suggested our marriage was a mistake. I wasn't the one who checked out emotionally. Still, it's hard not to second guess myself. Marriage is supposed to be for better or worse, and maybe I should have stuck it out longer. But at the same time, I couldn't keep pretending everything was fine when it wasn't. Her comment might have been the tipping point, but deep down, I think I always knew we were drifting apart. It just took something harsh to make me see it clearly. Another update. Since she moved out, I've had more time to reflect on everything, and I'm slowly realizing how much of myself I lost in the relationship. I've started reconnecting with old friends, picking up hobbies I'd neglected, and just generally finding myself again. It's weird how much time you gain when you're not constantly worried about someone else's happiness. I also started therapy, something I probably should have done ages ago. My therapist has been helping me unpack not just my marriage, but other parts of my life I've ignored. It's like I spent so much time trying to keep her happy that I forgot about my own happiness. Now that I'm finally focusing on me, it's freeing, but also sad. I keep thinking, why couldn't we have been this open with each other when we were together? Maybe things would have turned out differently if we'd both put in the work. I still have days where I miss her, or at least the person she used to be. Sometimes I wonder if I'll ever feel that deeply about someone again. But each day, it gets a little easier to accept that our chapter has ended. Final update. It's been a few months since I filed, and life has finally started to feel normal again. I recently got promoted at work, something I honestly don't think would have happened if I was still in that emotional fog. I've been going out more, meeting new people, and, though I'm not ready to jump into dating again, I can finally see a future that doesn't feel so bleak. My ex and I have minimal contact, mostly just about finalizing the divorce and a few financial things. The last time we spoke, she actually apologized. She told me she didn't realize how deeply her words would affect me and admitted she'd been going through her own issues that she never communicated. Part of me felt validated hearing her say that, another part just felt sad. We spent so much time under the same roof but never truly connected on what mattered. In the end, I don't think either of us was really at fault. Sometimes people grow in different directions, and clinging to something that isn't working only causes more pain. Maybe if we'd tried harder, if we'd been more open from the start, we could have avoided this. But hindsight doesn't change anything, and I'm finally starting to accept that. Looking back, I'm grateful for the good memories and even for the tough times, because they taught me a lot about myself. I'm still figuring things out, but I'm optimistic that one day I'll be able to look back on this period without regret. For now, I'm focusing on rebuilding, rediscovering who I am outside of the marriage. And, as difficult as it's been, I'm hopeful for whatever comes next. This was a tough journey, and I'll probably always wonder what if, but for the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm on the right path.